Hello, MLB Showdown community. I'm the guru, Colby Talathis, and this is our Play for the Card segment. In this segment, we're going to look ahead to 2012 players, guys who are going to have good charts, and we're going to try to get excited for those. This week, we're going to focus on the utility players, which is always an interesting batch. But first, we're going to focus on one more player who we can finish his card up for the 2012 year. Bartolo Colon finished up his year with another PED suspension for the big leagues. That's 598 more, and we can start our season early. Bartolo Colon will be a 6 innings pitch for 310 points, 1 to 2 pop up, 3 to 5 strikeout, 6 to 10 ground ball, 11 to 16 fly ball, 17 to 19 single. He had almost no walks in the year, and 20 for a double. So that's one more card for free that we're giving you here on our Play for the Card segment before we look at the utility guys. As we look at the utility guys, this has kind of been a growing field, especially compared, if you look at the Time Machine segment, there were very few good utility players in the 2000-2001 class. And every year, the 3 years we've made it, it looks like we've had a couple of elite players be utility players. And that's not going to change this year. The first guy to show up on our list is Joe Mauer. Joe Mauer is putting a fight in for that 11. That 11 is becoming a very competitive spot, with Votto being hurt and losing his at-bats. McCutchen's cooling down. Wright's cooled down. There's a dogfight going on for that 11 spot, and Mauer has a chance to claim it like he did in 2009. In 2009, he had 2 homers, an 11, 19 to 20 homer as a catcher, which was just insane. This year, he may not have any, which would make him the first 11 to be under 400 points potentially, which is a very interesting option. His problem is that he'd play first base and catcher at only a +2 at the moment. So with doing that, it'd be a little rough whether you put him at catcher and suffer and just get stolen against, or does he take up that first base spot and just purely be an on-base guy. Either way, if he makes an 11, he's going to be interesting. If he makes a 10, he'll be a little less interesting, but still a viable option. Another guy who's going to be interesting is Alan Craig from the Cardinals. He's a left field, right field, and first base, which is not the most useful combination of utility guys, but still useful. In the sense that he's going to be a 10. He's potentially going to look a lot like maybe a Matt Holliday type card, 19 to 20, with a bunch of doubles. So Alan Craig is another option. An interesting guy who also used to be a 10 in the 2009 set is Ben Zobrist, who's just absolutely been fighting to get that 10 spot. He walks a ton, which is going to hurt him. He's been caught stealing a little bit, so his speed, is he worth a speed A because of his hustle? Maybe an A18? Or is it really just a fast speed B, 17 or 16? We'll leave that up to you guys. Again, put comments down at the bottom and try to be active with us. But Zobrist looking like he could be a 10 with a 20 homer, 19 triple, 16 to 18 double. He hits a bunch of doubles with a single plus is a 15. Could be a very useful player because he plays the outfield, and I think he plays second base and qualifies at shortstop already, which would make him really interesting with that combination if he could play shortstop, move around the super sub. So a player who's a little bit been a disappointment is Carlos Santana. Last year he had a very big power year. A lot of us projected him maybe at that 30 home run level. That has not happened yet this year, but he does qualify at first base, and he catches at a +5, which makes him a lot easier to swallow than Joe Mauer. Right now he's looking like he's going to have a 20 homer, 18 to 19 double, and lots of walks. So we're looking at really a pinging card as a catcher, first baseman, late game sub, move him around. There are some uses there for this guy. One of the great utility players of the last 4 years has been Martin Prado, who always has a tough time getting a good card because he doesn't walk so much. But right now he's going to be an 8. He plays left field, right field, and third base primarily will be his positions. He'll have a 20 homer, a 19 triple, and a bunch of doubles, another 15 to 18 double guys. With very few walks, though, will be the difference between him and Zobrist's card as far as charts are concerned. He's one of the few guys who doesn't walk much. He could be a lot of RBIs late at the bottom of an order potentially. A lot of uses for Martin Prado. I'm excited that he finally will get a showdown card that's playable. A guy who had a very playable card last year and is going to have a much yet less elite card is going to be Mike Napoli. Still a catcher and first baseman. He catches at only +3. It's going to be interesting to see what the catching class looks like this year as far as total arms and whether we have to adjust our system to keep the running game somewhat in check. But he's looking to be in an 8, 17 to 20 homer. Again, a huge walk. Napoli's a big walker. as he was as a 10. He's just not getting the on base like he used to. So, Napoli as a potential power catcher option. Another power 8 is looking like Mark Trumbo, who was a 10 for much of the early part of the year. Looking like he's going to be another 17 to 20. He could be a 16 to 20 as an 8. Right now, he is the last 8 on our current thing, so he needs to get that on base up. He needs to get hot again. Hopefully, have maybe a 2 home run or 3 home run game here in the near future. But he qualifies at first base and corner outfield, which again, not the most useful combination, but as a power player, those are power options. He needs 2 more games at third base to qualify there, which would really put him really deep in the third base class even more, which picked up Cabrera and Hanley Ramirez as options these past few years, or this past year. One of the interesting last options I want to highlight, and I know a lot of these guys end up being catchers, but this is an interesting combination of card, is Ryan Doumit for the Twins. He's a catcher +2 and a corner outfielder. He had this card with the Pirates a couple years ago, except for he was a 7. This year he's looking like he's going to be an 8, 18 to 20. The ability to play the corner outfield and then move to catcher as a pinch, as you bring in like a cheap pinch hitter off the bench or someone who can play the corner outfield, I think that's very useful. Those corner outfield spots are useful because you have 2 of them in your lineup. So to catch and play corner outfield, very useful. Look for Ryan Doumit. If you guys want me to spotlight any other player, next week we're going to be focusing on ace pitchers. So primarily I'm going to focus on the guys in the top 5 or 6 in ERA and kind of project how we do that a little bit. But if you guys want me to spotlight any hitters that we've gone over already or haven't gone over, please let me know. Leave comments down below or send me a message at Twitter at MLB Showdown Guru. Thank you guys for your time, and remember to play for the card.